Well, many entrepreneurs mistakenly believe it's easy to sell a business, but the skills used to start a company and sell things are not necessarily the same as those used to make a successful sale. So what's the key to getting top dollar? Attorney Fredrick Lipman is a partner at Blank Rome and author of the new book, Valuing Your Business, Strategies to Maximize the Sale Price. He joins me now with some advice. Welcome. So selling, ultimately converting, getting the money for the business is easier said than done.
That's right, Lane. Most people think they can just advertise their business for sale, sign a few legal papers, get a check, cash it, and golf for the rest of their life, but nothing is further from the truth.
Do you find that people often think their business is worth a lot more than it is, or perhaps even a lot less than it is? It must be difficult to actually figure out what that value truly is and the value to those who come in and try to take it off your hands.
Well, what's amazing to me is that businessmen who spend a lot of time marketing their own products or services don't spend as much time trying to value their own business. They don't have the experience, and sometimes either overvalue or undervalue. Typically, they overvalue it.
And it's not as simple, say, as when people try to value their homes, you know, looking at similar homes that have sold in a similar area, that type of thing. It must be more difficult in the business world to figure out what it's worth.
That's right. Many of them use multipliers for public companies that are much larger than the business they have. And those multipliers of income don't apply to small business or even medium-sized business. Larger businesses tend to have a higher valuation.
And so how do you figure it out? How do you make sure that you're getting the money that you deserve? You know, but getting the math together to truly understand what your business is. Are there any basic things people should keep in mind?
Well, there are various methods of valuing a business. Depends on the size of the business. The most common methods are the EBITDA multiplier method, which is the earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation. And there's a multiplier. In the case of small to medium-sized businesses, the usual multiplier is anywhere from 4 to 6, but it can be a little lower and it can be a lot higher depending upon the marketplace.
And it's also important to keep all the information together, I would imagine, to make sure that you truly have a good idea of it and making sure you have a proper EBITDA number in the first place to make sure that you get the right sale number.
Well, you need good financial statements in order to sell your business. No one's going to buy it without some form of financial statements, hopefully audited by a reputable accounting firm.
So once you you know how much your business is worth, where do you go from there?
Well, what you got to do is engage, in my view, a good M&A lawyer to try to help you through the process. It's something that most businessmen have not been through, and as a result, they sometimes try to sell your house yourself. Some people are successful doing it. Most people do much better with the real estate agent.
And some entrepreneurs, they don't even realize it's time to sell or haven't even thought of selling until somebody walks up with a check and says, "We'd like to buy." Is it at that point especially where you need to have a true understanding of what the value of the business is before you actually take the first offer that comes along?
If you have an exit date, we think you should be planning as far as 5 years in advance of the exit date, so to get yourself in the position where you maximize the sale price. If you wait until someone comes up with an offer, that may not be the best deal in town. You may want to advertise the business, put it up for an auction, and do something else. The first deal isn't always the best deal.
Deal killers. That's one of the things you go through and you talk about here and talk about the various things you may find yourself. And talk about some of the deal killers, some of the things that may come up in the process that could end up killing the deal.
What happens typically in a deal is there's some litigation. It's a typical deal killer, especially major litigation. Environmental problems, tax problems, things that should be addressed as much as 5 years before you try for an exit from your business.
And these are all things that come up in the due diligence process, and you need to be aware of what's going on with them before you actually go into a situation where you offer your business up for sale, because you may end up finding yourselves in a difficult situation.
What I recommend is that anyone who wants to sell their business go through a due diligence process similar to what the buyer would do for the business. Anticipate what the buyer is going to find as a problem, and then basically try to correct it before you put your business up for sale.
How do you protect your business during this process? Because so many entrepreneurs in a small business situation, they're so tied to the business and they're so engulfed in it that if they find themselves getting too caught up in a sale process, the business may suffer.
Well, a lot of businesses do suffer through the sale process. They get so involved in the business of selling, they forget their own business. Business goes downhill and they lose the sale. But other problems exist with proprietary information, customer lists. You got to be able to protect your proprietary information. Also, once you make a decision to sell the business and it becomes advertised, you may find your key employees deciding to move elsewhere.
As soon as they hear that there could be a deal coming, they get concerned about their own jobs.
Exactly. And there's a lot of constituencies in a business which the entrepreneur may not realize, key employees being one, customers being others, suppliers. And what you have to do is figure out a strategy well in advance of the exit date as to how you're going to handle each of these.
Right. We have about 30 seconds left. Do you want to touch on leverage recapitalization?
One of the alternatives to a sale is to basically borrow money against your assets or cash flow without a personal guarantee from the bank and dividend the money out to yourself. Many businesses can do this if they have they're significant enough size, and many people can take and this is similar to what a real estate investor does. They remortgage the property and take equity out.
Just another option, another opportunity for these business owners. Fred Lipman,
Right.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
He is a partner at Blank Rome, and the book's called Valuing Your Business, Strategies to Maximize the Sale Price.